It's Crime Time Podcast back with a crime update. And what I wanted to do here today is dig in and fact check something, as a lot of times certain posts, memes, and things can be reshared many times and they're not always accurate. So I like to really fact check things. And what we're talking about here today is this meme, which is heartbreaking and just downright disturbing, about a man being freed after, I think it says, only 8 years in prison after he unalived a child in a home invasion. And I'm like, man, can this really be true? How could this happen? And diving in deeper, this is indeed true. And it's a very perplexing situation, as the individual Ronald Exantus was sentenced to 20 years and got out. It says 9 years that he did, 8, 9. Either way, it's absolutely bullish. This guy stabs to death a young child in a home invasion, and he's free that soon. He's not up under the jail. What in the fuck is going on? But it gets even more bizarre and confusing. One good thing that we can say about this is he is indeed back behind bars. Back in, I believe, like October, just 5 months ago, he got out. He got arrested right away. He violated parole and didn't register as a convicted felon, which I was like confused. Wait, you just have to register as a felon? We know about the other registry with those sick demons, but something to the extent of what this individual did, hell, he needs to be on a registry, period. But I was confused by a lot of things here, as the case happened in Kentucky, but where he didn't register and was locked back up was in Florida. And Florida was putting out statements about, you know, how they got on the ball right away when they found out that they had a dangerous individual who did something so heinous like this in their state. And it's like, how could someone get out of jail in one state and be in another state after they unalive someone? But thank God Florida locked him right back up. I don't know if he just didn't report to parole or anything, is kind of what it's sounding like to me when they're talking about that he didn't register. Like maybe just didn't even check in anywhere, just moved somewhere else and did what he wanted to do or what. I don't know how it worked out where someone could be across state lines when just doing a bid. But then it gets even crazier, because you're just like, how could he be only locked up that long, and you find out he was given a 20-year sentence and got out in 8 or 9 years for doing that? How does that work? And they say for good behavior. And where this case happened was in Kentucky, and it's just mind-blowing, as they're saying that, you know, they're trying to look in and change things. Different lawmakers and representatives and stuff are like, this is a big problem where people, this is in the state of Kentucky, as that's something with the legal system can be so different from state to state. Obviously, you have state prison, you have federal prison, laws, sentencing, you know, in different states can sometimes almost feel like different countries. And obviously, honestly, it goes even beyond that, where it can, you know, not just laws and stuff, just a way of life from state to state can truly feel like other countries, you know, rather than states. But the example that the person that spoke with the press about this good behavior time cuts shared was people giving time cuts for and good behavior tags for learning how to play the guitar or whatever behind bars. You know what I mean? With someone with a case like this, there's no reason good behavior should be any kind of consideration. Like, this guy unalived a kid. What in the world is going on? But it gets even more confusing and perplexing than just that. It seems he was found not guilty by reason of insanity. And you know, when it comes to the whole insanity thing and competency thing, it's something, you know, that people often don't fully understand. Like, if you're not competent, there is no trial. No trial even happens. You know what I'm saying? The court is like, okay, this person is not competent, there's no trial. But in this instance, when they say not guilty by reason of insanity, that means that a trial carries out and then the jury found that. But then they say that he was sentenced to 20 years for assault charges because he stabbed other family members in this home invasion. Now, that's where I'm super lost on this. So how did the jury find him insane on this, but then sane and can be sentenced on that? It makes absolutely no sense at all. And then on top of this, what's really crazy is the same individual who was talking with the press about this case, because this case is just so effed up. And on top of it, just so much doesn't make sense, period. I mean, the world almost doesn't make sense when terrible things like this happen. But even beyond these evil acts, there's so many things with this that just don't add up. He's across state lines. He's found not guilty by insanity on one thing, but then on another, he is competent and he gets 20 years, but then they let him go after 9 for good behavior. Then he's again popping up in Florida, but again, thank goodness Florida got on it and locked his ass right back the fuck up. But the same representative is like talking about how Kentucky, as the Commonwealth, needs to do something where when people are found not guilty by reason of insanity, that they need to go to an institution. And I'm like, they're not? You know what I mean? Like, since when is that what the deal is, Unless that's only when it comes to the competency thing, where if someone is found incompetent to stand trial, then they have to go to an institution, or this is just some crazy law in Kentucky, which, by the way, that this individual lawmaker that's speaking to the press is speaking about it seems like a fucked up situation in Kentucky that they need to get their ish together. But I tell you, man, like, how in the world could there be any kind of system that could allow someone who unalived a child and then is found not guilty by reason of insanity for that, but found guilty on something else for stabbing other family members, get out 9 years for good behavior, and there's no mental health follow-up or whatever? It's just not right at all. So Kentucky, please get your ish together. And anyone out there, if you understand this any more than me, I mean, this is one of those situations, like I said, that makes no sense. I mean, you can understand that the shit is just bullshit and makes absolutely no sense. But please, everyone, comment, make sure to subscribe and all that. Like the video. Once again, with a lot of these situations, these horrific true crime cases, there's nothing to like about it, but it's just something, to get out there more, to speak to other people, to break through in the algorithm and, speak about this evil that does indeed lurk out there in the world. But it's mind blowing that such a system can exist. We obviously know a lot about the criminal justice system and how in many instances it can be, I don't know, and comment how you feel about this, right? Because this, is up for debate. That's what that comment section is for on this channel, to speak about different topics and such. That the criminal justice system at times can be a bit unfair, where you got individuals locked up for like petty crimes or whatever, but then you got a situation like this where just some evil bastard just seemed to like get a slap on the wrist for one of the most heinous things that one can do in the world. It's like, geez, what kind of criminal justice system is this? You know what I mean? And I wanted to point out about a case that kind of plays into similar discussions in New York. This is in Western New York, Jamestown, New York. There was a case back in the 90s where there was this guy, Sean Williams. And this case that we're speaking of needs a video all on its own. You know what I mean? So please comment and let me know if you're familiar with that case or you would like to hear that video. Once again, make sure to subscribe. But Sean Williams gave a lot of women HIV, AIDS back in the 90s and knew about it. He had tested positive for it and went out and intentionally gave it to a lot of women. And he was an ex-offender on top of it, violating women and being with underage girls and stuff, real sick-ish. It caused a major health scare up there where the clinics had lines down the flunking out the door for people getting tested. He had been with a lot of women and he got locked up and ended up doing 9 years. and he got hit with that ex-offender tag. And when he did his bid and was set to come home, the court did something in New York in which I've never heard of them do before, and I don't understand why they don't do it more often with other sick, disgusting ex-offenders. They had him locked up in a mental health facility. There was some kind of legislation or law or whatever in New York State that they were able to utilize, where if an ex-offender is deemed to be someone that they indeed will re-offend, they can have them held against their will in a mental facility. And they did that with this guy. And it's this, we're talking about around 08, 09, 2010, something like that he got out. Did I say he did 8-9 years? I can't recall exactly how much time he did, but he was going to get out. And last I checked, he was still locked up. And I'm like, why don't they use this law in more instances where there's all these disturbing ex-offenders running around? You know what I'm saying? But, just something I wanted to touch on in regards to what we're speaking of here. Once again, got all into this video and this discussion here all by wanting to fact check this meme, as the news meme, I should say. There's memes, news memes, whatever you want to call it. And, a lot of people were outraged by this meme. And I'm like, could this really be real? Could someone be let out in that amount of time? And yes, indeed, it was true. But as we discussed earlier in this video, there's so much more about this case that just makes no sense, man. Like, Kentucky, get your ish together. This is just a pure travesty of justice. So that's going to do it for this one. Once again, hit that comment section. Let's talk about this case, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more crime news, crime cases, true crime news, true crime discussions. With all that being said, it's Crime Time Podcast signing out.